Hello and welcome to a new video. If you are new here, hello, my name is Emily and I make cruise and travel videos, and today I am going to talk you through the check-in process for a P&O Cruises cruise from Southampton in England. I am going on a P&O Cruises 5-night Belgium and the Netherlands cruise in March 2025, sailing on P&O's Iona. She is a large ship. You can check out my previous video which sets out all the information about the cruise as well as information on Iona in the link at the end of the video. But for now it is check-in day, so you can check in for your P&O Cruises cruise up to 21 days before your cruise, and you do that by going to the My P&O Cruises cruise homepage. You get all the details in emails and you'll have an email on the day that check-in opens to tell you check-in has opened. Unlike other cruise lines, P&O do not give you the option to pick your check-in time. It is given to you by P&O. I'm going to screen record my page so you can see all the details and we'll go through it together. So once you have logged into your cruise personalizer, it will provide all the details. Now I am filming this 4 days before departure, so at the top screen it tells you what your departure days are. You have lots of different orders and we're going to show you quite a lot about this. So it starts off by telling me my Peninsula Club level, so that's P&O's sort of membership. Once you have done, I believe it's 15 nights, you then come into the club. I am Atlantic, which is I think the one up from basic, which means I do get some extra perks for sailing with P&O. So it gives you your Peninsula Club status. It then provides a checklist of things you need to do before your cruise, such as complete your personal details. You can enhance your holiday, so that's things like booking onboard activities, entertainment, booking excursions. There is a separate video on booking excursions, so do check that out, and I will show you every single excursion option available on this particular sailing. And as P&O do quite frequently go to Rotterdam and Zeebrugge in Belgium, then most of them are very similar to what you'd expect moving forward. You can check in and download your boarding passes, which is what we're going to do today, and then you print your luggage labels as well, so you can pop them on your luggage ready to go to Southampton. Now check-in is slightly different if you are doing a fly cruise. You just don't get the option to have a boarding time because it depends on what time your flight arrives, but you still print your luggage labels, download your boarding pass, etc. So you move down, it tells you about the cruise, so we're doing the Belgium and Netherlands 5-night cruise, and it gives you the departure information. I am cruising solo, so I will just be checking in for myself. If I was cruising with somebody else, I would probably check in for all of us. You then have the cabin information. So I actually went for a saver fare on this cruise. So I didn't choose my cabin was allocated to me. All I selected was the type of cabin I wanted, which was a sea view. So it has my cabin information and also my bed configuration. So at that point I can change if I was going with somebody else, for example, such as my mum, we'd go for twin beds. As I'm cruising solo, I will be having a queen. And then you come down to your departure information, which is this is what is available 21 days before your cruise. So it tells me that my cruise terminal is the Ocean Cruise Terminal, which is berth 46 to 47 at Southampton docks. And in all honesty, this is the cruise terminal I have cruised mostly with P&O, and indeed with Cunard last year when we went on Queen Anne, it was the same terminal. And then it gives me my cruise terminal arrival time, also known as your port arrival time or your PATS. So my port arrival time is 2:30 in the afternoon. As I said earlier, with P&O you cannot choose your boarding time. It doesn't matter when you go and check in, your boarding time is set by P&O. and it will depend on things like your cabin grade, your loyalty status, a various host of things. So for me, I put a 231. Is that ideal? Probably not. It's not as late as my Cunard one, which was about 3:30 or 3:45 in October, but it's still a bit later than I would want, but it is what it is. I will just turn up and be grateful when I can get on board. There's then goes on to shore experiences, but we'll talk about that in another video. So at the departure section, I'm going to say check-in and boarding passes. And that is then going to load up this page. Now for some reason it's not showing the tabs what they're called, and that's a little bit annoying, but I'll go through and tell you what each tab actually is. So the first tab is my guest details, so that is going to be my passport information. The next tab is going to be the card you're going to have saved on your account. Any onboard spending with P&O goes onto your onboard account, and then that is settled from a credit or debit card saved to your file. You do also have the option to pay by cash if you want to, and I would always recommend, if you're paying by cash, to go to reception once you get on board and load your account with cash. Anything unspent, absolutely fine, you'll get your refund, but it's better to have something on account. If you are paying by credit or debit card, I would highly recommend paying by credit card, and the reason being is that P&O do, when they put the transactions through, there is a hold on the amount on your card, and if it's a debit card and you've got bills coming out, they might be declined because P&O's holding the money. It's just far easier and for me more convenient to put a credit card on. For example, for myself, I put a American Express British Airways credit card on, simply because on P&O you pay in pounds sterling, and so it means I get points and there's no transaction fee. If I was going on an American cruise line such as Princess, Disney, even Cunard, because they pay in dollars on Cunard, I would put a card that has no transaction fee or no currency conversion fee, because you will be transferring from dollars to pounds if you're from the UK. So at this point you put your card details in, and the card details you can select to apply to everybody in your party. So when my mum's travelling with me, for example, both of us, whether she spends money on her cruise card or I spend money on my cruise card, it all goes out of the same card at the end of the day. Or you can select different cards if you'd prefer it that way, so you're travelling with friends, for example. Next up you have your photo. So this is going to be your check-in photo. Now just because you put a photo up does not mean they're going to accept it, and quite frequently they will take your photo again at the port anyway. But if your photo's up, this photo is going to be used for embarking and disembarking the ship at the security stations, and also when you pay for things with your cruise card, it's the picture that comes up to sort of show who you are. Once you've filled in those details, you then are able to download your boarding pass. So all you actually need to do for check-in is complete your passport information and your guest details, provide your card details if you want to pay by credit or debit card for onboard purchases, and put your photo in. Once that is done, you can then download your boarding pass and then also download your luggage labels. So I'm just downloading these now, and then you print them off and take them with you to the terminal. When with your luggage label, always put your telephone number on the luggage label at the point it requests. Then your luggage label can be downloaded. There is a section, the only information you need to include in the luggage label is your mobile number, and that's just in case something happens to your case. It can be found and you contacted quite easily. When you're travelling from Southampton, I have personally found the luggage is quite quick to get to your cabin, but just in case something happens, always put your telephone number down, and I would recommend putting your luggage label in a plastic luggage label holder that you can find from Amazon, and I will link the ones we have bought down below. We use them for Princess and P&O and they fit absolutely fine. We've not had any issues with them. So print your luggage labels, print your boarding pass, and that is your check-in done. It won't take very long if you have everything ready beforehand, and I recommend taking your photos before you're about to check in, so you've got them saved on your computer or mobile device so it's easy to upload. As I said, it's really annoying that the tabs aren't showing what they're actually called, but the first tab is your guest details, so passport information. Second tab is your card information for onboard spend. Third one is your passport style photo for security. And then the fourth tab is downloading your boarding pass. And the fifth tab is downloading your luggage labels. So once you've done all that, checked in, and you are able then to proceed to the terminal at your dedicated embarkation time, I would always say arrive as close to your port arrival time as you can to avoid queues forming and allowing your embarkation to be as seamless as possible. Other things that you will need to do in advance of check-in are things like putting your next of kin details in and also your insurance details. P&O does ask for your insurance details in advance, so always get travel insurance. You never know what's going to happen, and that money could really save you a lot of money in the event, God forbid, you are having to be airlifted off that ship or left in a country to have medical treatment. So always get travel insurance. But that is the check-in process done. So now the check-in process is done, the next thing to think about is going to be the food options and entertainment, which is available around 14 days before you're sailing to book online. That's going to be the next video, so head down and like this video and subscribe, and I will see you all next week for the entertainment booking and also the restaurant booking. I'll see you then.